In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with the Chief Product Officer at MetaSpark, and I'm with Stephen Costigan, who is hailing over from the team at MetaSpark. And the team is doing some very exciting work to basically keep employees engaged from anywhere, right? Everybody's now working in remote spaces. And the point is now, how do we keep people engaged? Today, we want to deep dive into how MetaSpark is tackling the employee engagement world, but also how they're thinking about growth. And so I'm very pleased to have, Stephen on the show. Welcome.
Lucas, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. So, give us that 360 overview. What is MetaSpark all about?
Sure. So MetaSpark's all about empowering people to achieve anything and being rewarded along the way. So that's essentially what we're doing with our technology. And the technology we've created really addresses some of the most, fundamental challenges in how employees plan work, they deliver their work, and how they're recognized and rewarded for the work that they do.
Very good. And maybe, since we're now sort of like starting to dig into the problem that you guys are solving, maybe tell me a little bit more sort of about the problem, but also sort of the companies and people that benefit the most when, working with MetaSpark. Is there certain industries, certain sizes of companies, like who really sees benefits quickly from you guys?
Well, our target market, starts at around 500 employees. But really, in terms of who benefits and who can benefit, it's really everyone in an organization. So with our solution, the employees are more aligned with the company's mission. They know what they need to do to really move the needle and impact that mission, and they're rewarded for doing so. And when you look at some of the metrics out there, one of the number one reasons for attrition today is that people just don't understand how their work impacts and drives the needle at organizations. In fact, we were just on in another call, a customer demo, and the person that we were talking to is a director at the company that she's just landed at, but she came from a very large enterprise organization, which she just left. And she said to us, I never really understood how my work impacted the organization, how it aligned with the company's goals. And it was just, such an interesting thing to hear because, the numbers in our thesis and, how we're trying to align our product, just it all came together in that one moment with her. And we were able to align the conversation there very quickly.
Very interesting. I mean, that you brought up that example there. Like, could you tell me a little bit more about sort of the actual people, the roles? What roles do people typically have that being a champion internally for MetaSpark? Is that somebody from the HR side? Is it coming actually more from the operation side? Like, who is saying, okay, we need something like MetaSpark in our organization?
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's a huge spectrum of people, but just to name a few, we're working with everyone from VPs and CIOs on the technology side to HR with their HR onboarding process. And working with HR directors, for instance, to optimize that.
And if we're thinking about these, HR directors, as you were saying, like, how do they, learn about MetaSpark? Like, what's the journey looking like of somebody who is, maybe hearing about MetaSpark, getting interested, educating themselves, and then, ultimately at some point getting started with the company? Maybe tell us a little bit about sort of the journey or sort of how they actually learn about MetaSpark.
Sure. Some of that is just awareness. So via our blog, via our socials, definitely one of our top magnets, if you will, for leads and driving traffic to our website. And then once they're on our website, they're being educated around the platform, but it really takes a holistic kind of surround, messaging approach in order to get a call with them. So we have, both inbound and we have outbound that we do, and we focus very heavily on outbound because we find it's really effective. Cold calling, email, and traditional email via our platform and HubSpot, and other marketing channels. I don't have our marketing director on the line with us today, and they could tell you more, but I can definitely tell you it's a very holistic journey to getting a customer on the phone and then through the demo and into looking and reviewing a quote and
Makes
signing it.
sense. That
So,
makes sense.
but
Okay.
I'll comment I'll say a few more things on that.
Sure.
Is we're really trying to help companies achieve outcomes. That's what our tool is all about. So it's a very different tool from most in the marketplace. And when we talk to CIOs, when we talk to executives, when we talk to really any of the people in the senior leadership roles at companies, they're looking for a platform that helps them deliver outcomes. And so that's kind of where we focus. So when it comes to advertising, we're all about delivering outcomes, and that really resonates with people. It's not about the technology. It's not about planning an outcome. It's not about what are the tasks involved with an outcome, but it's about the full life cycle of outcome delivery. And that is planning, delivering, measuring, and rewarding people when outcomes are achieved.
Yeah, very good. I mean, that really ties into what I was actually quite curious, what people can expect, when they're leveraging the platform. You did already tip your toes into that. Is there sort of, just for people who are listening in and trying to get a grasp on that outcomes, is there certain like typical metrics that people would optimize with MetaSpark? Is there, how would you, what can people expect this in the end, like when leveraging the platform in terms of results?
Companies that implement our platform can expect to deliver outcomes more effectively. So we really, work to enable companies and their teams via a really structured set of capabilities to target planning, delivery, management, and rewards, and ultimately drive outcomes with our tool.
Okay, that was very interesting, Stephen. You gave us a quick overview on what MetaSpark is all about, who you're working with, the types of customers you're interacting with, and obviously which particular roles drive or champion, I should say, really a MetaSpark within their companies, and we resonate on the importance of outcomes for you guys. So what I'm curious now is, if we look at that customer journey that we briefly touched upon, what role does technology play in the customer journey of people, hearing about MetaSpark and then getting started? And we can go, very sort of nitty gritty here. That's completely fine. Just give us a quick insight on how you guys tackle that.
Sure. We've really taken technology and tried to use it in every part of the customer journey. But I'll start off just on the lead generation side. So what we use there is, like I mentioned to you before, a whole mix of different methods to bring leads in and to acquire leads via outbound. Part of our outbound, and to help outbound scale, is we utilize a platform called WeConnect, which is pretty great. And that tool allows our sales reps to automate outreach via LinkedIn. And that's been extremely effective for us. And then, once we've acquired a lead, we use HubSpot to really automate, educating our customer through the journey, and to deliver content to them in a kind of just-in-time manner. And what's great about HubSpot is it also allows us to dial in our approach via, it's pretty advanced analytics engine.
Yeah, very cool. Really love the hint there on WeConnect. Probably a lot of your marketers and outreach folks will have a quick look on that. Speaking about the future, right? Businesses like yourself in the employee engagement arena, let's say, what do you think, would you guys have to keep in mind, or what will you have to do in order to, bring that customer journey we just spoke about to the next level?
What we learned the hard way is making it accessible is the number one, it's the most important thing for the customer journey. So meaning making your product accessible, delivering an amazing trial experience, and really trying to understand upfront and as quickly as possible what the use cases are that resonate most with your audience, and make those available and front and center in the trial experience. And the next is the onboarding experience. So we try to white glove onboard every user that touches our platform. That's been very effective for us. It allows us to collect feedback while also simultaneously delivering, an amazing user experience as someone gets onboarded into our system.
Very cool.
And,
good.
Oh, sorry, I just had two more. The others are, the long-term customer support and focus on adoption. So having a system like Intercom or another tool in place that helps you automate the outreach to individuals that are maybe falling off in terms of an adoption standpoint, and also enabling the customer to have access to the product team and support teams in a frictionless way. That is so critical to that customer journey and keeping them, on the journey. And then number 4 is just aligning the feedback that you're gathering. And again, like that's a very important aspect, is gathering feedback from people, via whether it's via support channel or surveys or whatever, other method you want, but aligning that feedback with the strategic roadmap, and keeping your focus on your competition as you do so.
Well, thanks a lot for that sort of, couple of key points, when it comes to the journey and elaborating and exploring, further avenues on those. What I think is interesting now that we looked into how you guys thinking about growth, from a bird's eye perspective, I'm curious about your own journey, right? Within MetaSpark, right? You joined close to 3 years, a little bit less, than three years ago, into the company. What's the one advice you would give yourself, joining as a chief product officer into MetaSpark? Like, what one thing that you would tell yourself, imagine your first day into the office, or potentially your first day into remote work, probably, I guess, given the pandemic, what would be one advice that you would give yourself?
I wish I had found Rahul Vohra's article, the founder of Superhuman. I wish I had found that day one. Let's put it that way. And that's all about how to discover what your product market fit is. Mm-hmm. So I would say to the Stephen of 2 years ago, dial in the product market fit. Number one, it's the first thing you do. Don't spend money on sales. Don't spend money on marketing. Don't spend money on anything other than grabbing a few customers, getting them into your platform, dialing in your product market fit, and find repeatability. So the next thing is find repeatability in your sales process before you decide to scale it. Don't put any money into your sales team until you have sold and you've done that in a repeatable way. It's super critical. So those two things, product market fit and finding a system that works and resonates with customers in a way that allows you to create repeatability in your sales, then scale.
Makes a whole lot of sense. If people are now curious to try to find that article, what should they Google for in order to get it? Do you know, or at least the name of the author and the article title?
Yeah, sure. Just do a Google for Superhuman Product Market Fit Engine. It's actually an entire framework that he's created, which you can integrate right into your product, including a survey, which we do. And it's been very effective for us.
Very cool. No, Stephen, I really appreciate you giving us that insight today on what MetaSpark is all about, but also really diving into that learnings of, that product market fit. I hope somebody out there, will be able to save themselves a couple of months of hard work by going into that framework right early, right from the get-go. And, before I sort of let you guys go today from this interview, I want to, give you the last word of the interview, right? If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about MetaSpark today, what's the one thing that they should remember?
When you engage someone's heart, their mind, and their soul in a mission, they can really achieve anything. And, that's kind of the whole premise behind what we're doing.
Stephen, thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathway Presents.
Thank you so much.